TwinSpires is joined by owner Ted Bowman, who has Speed King entered in the Grade 3 Southwest this weekend at Oaklawn Park. It's a road to the Kentucky Derby prep race worth 20 points to the winner. And Speed King already has 5 points after finishing second in the Springboard Mile. First off, welcome, Ted. It's good to have you here. Excited to talk about Speed King.
Churchill has been track, although I can't really say that because Oaklawn is my home track. I'm an Arkansan, but my biggest victories have been there. So,
well, let's talk about Speed King. I heard that you've called him your first good horse. Why is Speed King so special to you, and what does that mean, your first good horse?
He's not my first good horse. He is my first good young horse.
Young horse, okay.
Before, when I first got into it, I was claiming, but then I bought packages of older horses. So I'd had some success early on with that. But Speed King is the best, so far, the best 2-year-old, now 3-year-old. And I've never had one in any kind of on the Derby trail at all. I bought some that I hoped would be, but he's the first.
And he broke his maiden at Churchill Downs, a good place to break your maiden if you're going to try to show up.
Fortunately,
in Kentucky
I wasn't
Derby.
there.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there. No. Yeah. So maybe I won't show up for the Southwest.
Were you there for the Springboard Mile?
Oh, yes, and had a lot of friends there, and it started raining, and it was the last race. It was about 11 o'clock at night, which I'm not crazy about nighttime racing that late. But anyway, yes, it was exciting, and I thought we had it won. We finally put away the horse that ran up with us, and all of a sudden, that cold battle just caught us and won by about 3 feet. So burst our bubble a little bit, but that was only his second race, so I wouldn't trade. No offense to Cold Battle, which is a great horse, but I wouldn't trade mine for him right now.
Now, heading into his third career start, he had a bullet workout on January 18th at Oaklawn. Tell me a little bit about that workout and how he's looked heading up to the Southwest.
Yeah, if you know Ron Moquett, my trainer, he does not push hard and works. So this horse has had some great workouts, but he pretty much lets him do it on his own. Bayerano was aboard that day and wasn't given any instructions to push. This horse just kind of naturally does it on his own. And what I've had a bunch of phone calls from agents and trainers that said, that's really something because Ron never pushes. So he was first out of, it was 302. I think it might be 315 now. The very most interesting part of that is his gallop out, the 5 furlong gallop out, was a bullet compared to the 95 horses that worked that day. So he galloped out in a minute flat, and Bayerano on his little watch thought he did 59-4. So, but we're excited. You know, it's just fun to be in this game.
Speed King is breaking from the outside in the Southwest, going up against Gaming, Patch Adams.
Oh.
What kind of trip are you hoping for? What are you expecting in this third career start?
He has great speed. I don't know that we have to be on the lead, but we will be involved. Oaklawn, you know, sometimes you go, you don't want to be in that 10 hole, but he breaks so well, I think naturally he'll drag us up to near the lead. So many things can happen, you know. But the other thing that good about the 10 hole is no one can wipe him out at the start unless the 9 horse bolts to the outside or something. But you have a lot more protection that way. So we'll be able to identify the horses that are, you know, there's speed there, and we'll be looking at them on the outside. Bayerano will be able to decide how to proceed. So,
you mentioned that Speed King is trained by Ron Moquett, and the two of you paired up to win the Grade 1 Stephen Foster in 2006 with Seek Gold. Tell me a little bit about that win. It was your first Grade 1 and also Ron Moquett's first Grade 1. So what emotions did you feel?
I bought a package of horses about 5 or 6 weeks before the Stephen Foster, and Seek Gold was in that package. We actually had 3 stakes winners out of 10 horses in there. But Ron and I started that year. So 5.5 months into into racing, all of a sudden I'm on national TV being interviewed. And so it was a great time. I wish I could get a hold of the interview. There were some emotional things in there. My mother had just been diagnosed with cancer. I stopped the interview on ESPN and talked directly to her. But it was a very special time. And I was so new to it. I just thought, I'll put all these good business practices, and then you find out later so much involved. And but I fell in love with horse racing right then. And Ron and I have been together for 19 years. This is our 19th year.
It's quite the start.
Numbers have joked about, they thought you should get an Eclipse Award just for sticking with Ron that long. But he's a great guy. I generally try to go to the sales with Ron, his agent, or my agent, Jeff Macker out of Texas, and one of Ron's team, Cody Cothill, is all part of a team down there. And I went this time searching for athletes. I can't afford to play the game of which I wish I could, Into Mischief. If I can buy an Into Mischief, something is probably wrong with him. Something, he's got 3 legs. I don't know. But so I just look for athletes. And this Volatile is freshman sire. And I fell in love with the way he looked, his times, and why I'm so excited about him and thought he had promise. He did, let's see, I wrote this down, 10.1 on his 8th workout, which he was scheduled. Then he went 21 for the quarter, 32.3 for 3/8, and finished galloping out at 45-4 on the half mile. So he just kept getting better. There wasn't and so that's why Volatiles was a sprinter, although Violence was a route horse, his sire. But just from the stride and everything, we thought this horse might be special. And we've been lucky. So yes, we're so excited.
Tell me a little bit more about your 19 years in the industry, and you also founded Triton Thoroughbreds. So talk about Triton Thoroughbreds.
So we first raced as Bowman Couch Racing, which my now wife was Christy Couch when we first started. Then it became Bowman Racing. And then as I got a little older and got closer to retiring a few years back, I decided that I'd bring in some partners, mainly people that I know. And so I switched. And the reason Triton Thoroughbreds came about, I had a horse early on, like the first year and a half, named Triton Missile. And he was, I think he was by Smart Strike. And he really was a great horse. I loved him, but he was a starter allowance. And I had several starter allowance horses when I started. And he was at the same time as Seed Gold. So that's where the Triton part came in. I just was trying to find a cool name, and I loved Triton Missile, so I named it that. He wasn't my favorite horse, but I loved him and loved the name. So.
And Triton Thoroughbreds does offer the opportunity to become an owner at a smaller percentage. Is that right?
Yes, smaller. There's no one that every once in a while somebody will take a little bit more, but been real lucky. They're pretty much people that I know. We do everything. We pay the bills direct, training, vet, shipping, everything, and then we bill out and keep track of everything. In fact, we're a small operation. My wife does all the billings, and luckily when we get the revenue disbursements, she does that too. So.
So now that you've been in the industry 19 years, what are your big goals at the moment as an owner?
I just love horse racing. I love to watch them run. I do like to bet, but I love to watch the racing. I can be happy just turning on the TV and watch the development of a race. Ron and I, he was an athlete back in his day, and I was sort of one. And so we take it, I really look at it from the athletic standpoint, the bodies, and then I rely on him really for the legs. And he is a consummate caretaker of horses. He is unbelievable, and it's been a great ride. He's kind of more like a little brother to me, because I think we've got about 16 or 17 years difference in us, and so I just never thought about going anywhere else.
Sounds like you have a very special partnership there.
We do.
Well,
I'm his oldest owner now. He had one other guy, Mr. Edict, that passed away a few years ago. And Ron really got emotional when Whitmore won the Breeders' Cup, and he had mentioned Fred. So, and I'd been partners with Fred a few times too. But anyway, that's we have a great relationship, and it's kind of like it is like brothers. We'll argue, and he told me I was the best negotiator he'd ever met. He said, because you always get your way. So.
That's a good thing, I think.
Maybe not from his perspective.
Well, to close out, if Speed King were to make the starting gate of the 151st Kentucky Derby, what would that mean to you? Oh my God,
just childhood. I mean, I didn't watch early on. I wasn't affiliated with my dad. He had constructions businesses and stuff, and I grew up working early. But they would come to the track like once or twice a year, and I would tag along and go. Well, back then you had to be like 16 to get in, but I was kind of a big kid, so I could get in. And in college, we'd all sneak over we went to college in Little Rock, and we'd come over to the track and have a great time. And I just kind of somehow found it. I claimed a horse with a guy, had no intention of it. I was driving down to Hot Springs. We had a condo here, and I go, if I was ever going to claim a horse, I would claim this one. He went, why? And I said, well, Christy, my wife, she loves gray horses, and she loves red wine. And this horse is named El Merlot. He was an Argentina bred. But anyway, got to the track, and somebody said, well, we're going to claim that horse. I said, well, I don't have a license. He said, I'll just do it in my name. If you want to come in later, you can do it. So, and then we won our first race. So that was that. And then I just started claiming horses. 2 or 3 in Kentucky, you can do more than one in a race. And there were times when I claimed 2 horses a race. But anyway, I got bit by the bug.
And now you may have a Kentucky Derby starter.
We just feel blessed. I mean, I'm really excited about just being in the game again like this. I felt like I got really lucky. But $100,000 for me is a lot of money. Not so much when you're down there, though.
Well, we certainly wish you the best of luck this weekend, and thank you for joining us and telling us your story.
Well, thank you. And like I said, I love Churchill Downs.